Welcome to this lecture on the definition essay. This is Professor Carpenter from Valencia College. Here are our lesson objectives. We'll discuss how to write a definition essay, identify the characteristics and structure of a definition essay, and learn how to plan a definition essay using pre-writing techniques and a planning worksheet. By the end of the week, you will plan and write a rough draft of a definition essay on courage. So what is a definition essay? The purpose of the definition essay is to help the reader understand the meaning of an unfamiliar term or clarify the meaning of an abstract or vague term. So a definition essay may try and define the meaning of an abstract concept like love, the true meaning and importance of honesty, how the meaning of family goes deeper than just your blood relatives. So a definition essay attempts to define a complex word that refers to an abstract concept, such as love, friendship, courage, and beauty. It goes beyond the dictionary definition, and it requires you to analyze and define a word from your own perspective. So your assignment for this essay is to do an extended definition essay on the meaning of the word courage, using examples from your own research on the term, your own life, and the dictionary. Courage has been defined by many philosophers, leaders, authors, and images. If you Google the word courage, here are a few images that come up. It's a word that's complex and has a dictionary definition, but it also has a personal one, and you can see the different definitions here. You'll get the opportunity to share your personal definition of courage in this assignment. So here is your blueprint or planning worksheet for your definition essay. This is the actual planning sheet you'll fill out and submit at the end of this week. You'll create an introduction with a thesis statement, and that will include your personal definition of the word courage. You'll then describe the dictionary definition of what courage is. This will require research into the dictionary definition of the word, and you can use an online dictionary source such as Oxford or Merriam-Webster or dictionary.com. After research, you'll explain how others have defined courage. Make sure to cite your sources with signal phrases such as according to so-and-so, so according to Winston Churchill or Nelson Mandela, or another author according to a family member. Courage is blank. You'll explain not only what courage is, but what courage is not by explaining terms that some people may confuse for courage. So think about terms that other people have used that are really not courage, but may be confused with the term. You'll write about who in your own life shows courage with specific and descriptive details. So think about that. You'll end with a conclusion. Note that things you'll use to write your essay include the dictionary, your personal experience, and research. So you'll need to quote sources and include those sources on a works cited page, and I'll show you some examples in this lecture. So where do I begin? The planning sheet is where you'll begin. Note that you begin this assignment by looking up the definition of the word in a dictionary. There are instructions and examples of how to cite a dictionary online in MLA. And here they are here, and it gives you an example. So step one is to look up the dictionary definition of the word. Here, I've looked up the dictionary definition of the word love in the Oxford Dictionary online. So step two is to cite the source of the dictionary definition of the word. So here's how to cite an online dictionary source in MLA format. This is the full citation you'll use on your works cited page at the end of your paper. So notice you have the term, love, and in your case, if you looked up the word courage, that word would be here. Then you have which definition it is. A lot of times there's more than one definition. Then you have the source. In this case, it's Oxford Dictionaries Online. The ND stands for no date. Then you have the web, which is where you got it. If it was a print source, you type web here. And then this is the date that you accessed it, October 7th, 2015 as an example. So if I was going to reference the Oxford Dictionary definition in my essay, I could say something like this. According to the Oxford Dictionary, Love is, and then I would put in quotation marks, a strong feeling of affection. And notice the period is inside the quotes. So that's how I would cite it in the text of my essay. And then at the end on my works cited sheet, I would put the full citation. So notice as we discuss, if you cite something in your paper, you must have a corresponding full citation on your works cited page. So next you'll need to do some research for this essay. This section of the planning sheet gives you a place to describe how others have defined courage. And I'm looking for at least 3 quotations. Research quotations about courage from other sources, such as philosophers, motivational speakers, authors, and historical features or figures. So you can just Google the word courage, quotations perhaps, and you can see what other people have said about courage. And here's an example. Here's what Eleanor Roosevelt said about courage. And if you look at the different parts of this online resource, you'll see that the author of the quote is Eleanor Roosevelt. And the name of the website is Brainy Quote here. Publishing org, here it's Explore. Then there's a date. In this case, there's no date for the quote. So we don't know when Eleanor Roosevelt actually said this, or it's not here. Then the medium is the web. The other choice is the print. And then the date that you accessed it, which will be the date that you looked it up. So this is the format I'd use to cite the full MLA citation of this quote. Note I used the last name and first name of the author of the quote, the word she defined, the source, which is Brainy Quotes, ND, which means there's no date that we know when Eleanor said this quote. The web is the medium where I got this quote. And the date, October 7th, 2015, is the date I looked up the quote on the internet. And if I was going to cite this within the essay, I would say Eleanor Roosevelt defined courage as, then I would put the quote, and at the end, in parentheses, I put my source, Brainy Quotes. And notice that I could look up at the end of my works cited page, I could find the exact full citation for that quote at the end of my paper on the works cited page. I'd be able to align that. So I could look up and say, oh, Brainy Quotes, here's the full citation. So here's another example of a quote from someone about courage. This is a quote by Nelson Mandela. Note the formatting of the MLA citation you'd use on your works cited page. So here's the full citation. You notice the last name, Mandela, comma, Nelson, which is the author of the quote. This is what his quote is about, courage. This is the source, notable quotes. ND, once again, means no date, so we don't know from this internet site what date Nelson Mandela said the quote. It's from the web, and this is the date I accessed it. So next, and we're following the exact planning worksheet that you're working with, jot down the anti-definition. So think about what courage is not. Think about terms that people confuse for courage and examples of the lack of courage. Then, think about a person or persons in your life who show courage and give examples of those people and how they exhibit courage. And make sure it does align with your definition of courage. Next, you'll get the opportunity to research someone who has shown courage in a difficult situation. In the planning, you can write down facts and how the person showed courage. So this is the opportunity for you to think about historical figures or philosophers or sports figures, someone who has shown courage, and make sure to document the source of your research in MLA format. So here's an example. Let's say I felt that Winston Churchill exhibited courage in a situation. I would look him up, Winston Churchill, and this is how I would cite in MLA the full citation, Winston Churchill, and then I would have the source, bio.com. This is the publishing organization, A&E Networks Television. There's no date on the site. I got it on the web, and this is the date of access. So I could say, according to Winston Churchill, or on the bio.com site, Winston Churchill exhibited courage as, and then I could finish that. So here's an example from an excerpt from a definition essay on hope. Here, notice the way that a quote by Emily Dickinson is used in the text of the paper. So here you can say, if you read this essay carefully, you would see that up here she quotes Emily Dickinson by saying, Emily Dickinson once wrote, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words." So here, this author wrote the source, Emily Dickinson once wrote, with a comma and a quotation mark around the quote. And then if you looked at her works cited page, you could see the full citation. Dickinson, comma, Emily, period. The word hope, in quotation marks. Brainy quotes, no date, web, 7 October 2015. So you could see the in-text quotation, and then you would be able to look at the works cited page and find a corresponding full citation. So you'll include a works cited page at the end of your essay, putting the sources you've cited in alphabetical order. You will center the term works cited and make sure you're using the correct format. And there's sources for that you can look at. Here's what a works cited page would look like for the sources I've cited so far in this lecture. Notice this is in alphabetical order, and works cited is centered on the page. So if you want some resources for how to format a different citation, you can look at your Little Seagulls book. There's a whole section on MLA, and it has rules and guidelines to follow, and it also has a sample works cited page you can use as a model. So after you use your planning worksheet, you'll put all the information you've gathered in a rough draft. If you complete your planning sheet completely, documenting all sources, it'll make writing the rough draft smooth. So note your rough draft must have in-text citations and a works cited page. And if you're unsure how to format, look at the transcript of this lecture and notes on MLA formatting. So final thoughts. This week as you plan your definition essay, use your creativity in considering what you think courage is. Think of your own personal experiences and people in your life, such as friends and family members, that you admire for exhibiting courage. Write about these people in your essay. Use the planning sheet to make sure you research and document all the criteria. Document your sources carefully. Consult MLA formatting guides posted. And use your creativity. And this is the end of this lecture.